do you talk, do you talk to your equipment? Isn't that's a 21st century? Are we in the 21st century? What are we in? Are we?
Yes.
That's a new how long? 5 years? 10 years? I remember getting an Airbnb like 5-6 years ago, and they had Alexa, and I was paranoid about it. And the reality is they are listening because it does talk back to you. We have a little 5-year-old friend, and it is funny listening to a 5-year-old friend talking to Google. and me and Jordan were laughing at Google. It was really interesting because he would say something, and then Google, there was a long pause, and then Google would respond. Went through its like vocabulary and picked what he wanted every time. It was really interesting.
Not every time.
Not every time. Not every time. Yeah, there was lots of songs that we had to listen over and over again. Oh my goodness. It was a dance party.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Say hi to everybody.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Friday. It is Friday. And we are halfway into spring.
Yeah.
In Canada.
Halfway into spring.
I know that
I don't have a clue what that means because the first day of spring hasn't happened yet. So
in my heart, it has. And today I was outside in the morning with a t-shirt on.
Yes.
Putting the boxes out.
Do you know what happens on Sunday, tomorrow night?
Valentine's Day?
No, it's less pleasant than that.
Oh,
it's
spring forward?
Be so hard for you.
Spring forward?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's so much change.
You struggle
it
with
literally
the time change.
Takes me a month to realign myself.
What time is it really? No, but really, what time is it?
I know. I
never know what you're asking.
Wear 2 watches.
Like, what's the real time?
I know.
Whatever time it is the real time.
Springing ahead and falling back.
Yes.
That's how I know. Yes. All right. March 11th, we're going to get into our morning meditation on this beautiful spring day. All right, here we go. During the days of active alcoholism, fill in the blank, every problem loomed so large that I was overwhelmed by it. It was the most important thing in the world. It was the only thing in the world. It was the final calamity. Hysteria was in charge. Make a hysteria noise.
No.
Hysteria was in charge. I must have known there was a world outside of all this, a sane, comfortable way of living. But this was way beyond me while I was wrestling with my daily shocks and despairs. Now I have found a 12-step program and a fellowship. I look at my problems with a better sense of proportion and balance. I see problems worse than mine, which my friends in the 12-step program handle with poise and courage. Thus, my difficulties are scaled down to a normal size. I know I can do something about them. Today's reminder. Now that I am in a 12-step program and a fellowship, I am no longer alone. I have learned to comfort and encourage others, and that gives me a fresh approach to my own difficulties. I can help others, and they can help me. A quote of Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes?
Yeah, there it is. Woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up.
That's true.
It's true. Addiction is a disease of isolation, of being alone, of wrecking every relationship, not just wrecking them. I would say torching them, like just torching every bridge, every relationship, every resource, time and time again, and we're alone. And so who's in charge? My addiction. Me, really.
Yeah.
Self is in charge. And so hysteria was in charge. Imagine having hysteria in charge of dinner. Imagine hysteria in charge of like buying a car and like going grocery shopping.
Well, and that's why these readings are so good, because these readings, it's not just like about like the drinking or the drugging. It's like you can take away drinking or drugging and still have hysteria in charge.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And
yeah.
then like, I'm not emotionally sober.
We're just reading a section out of the big book, and it was Bill getting sober in his first year and a half. He couldn't even find work because he said I was too unwell. And he said he would have bouts of self-pity and despair that would almost cause him to drink. And to get out of that, he was going to help other people. He would go right to the hospital.
That's our solution.
That's our solution. Our solution is God. And out of God's power, we go and help other people, because that's how we grow and enlarge our spiritual connection with God. So just know that either hysteria is in charge or God is in charge. I don't think we're ever in charge.
I mean, if you looked up the definition of hysteria, I don't think that is a true statement that it's either hysteria or God. I think there's other things other than God that can be in charge. Fear can be in charge. Control can be in charge.
I think hysteria is
because
a good word to sum it all up.
There can be a very like low level, like very structured, very, very capable looking control and fear in charge. Hysteria is like a wildness and a like.
But isn't the hysteria inside?
I would
in a calm.
I would just say way? That not everyone would be able to relate to hysteria being in charge. Sometimes it looks like control, and it looks very orderly, and it looks like I'm super successful and I'm getting this stuff done, but I'm not at peace. There's problems arising on a daily basis. I have trouble in relationships.
And so then you're saying that some people just are in denial of there's any problems, and they just go through life.
Well, everything's your problem. Mm-hmm. You're the problem. These people are the problem. So yeah, I think it's a really good reading. I think that we need to be aware.
And maybe we can define hysteria by addiction. Either addiction's in charge,
right?
The enemy is in charge, or God's in charge.
We don't always see, there's another teacher that I listen to who talks about our false selves being in charge. And so God wants to strip away our false self and everything that is a false comfort to us, and everything that we go to try to live, a life, a good life. We try all these things. We want to have a good life. I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't want to have a good life. And we bring all these things in to try to like lead us on this path to a good life. But a lot of those are our false self, and it's false way of living.
And so then the fellowship actually gets us out of ourself, and we get to see other problems, and then we get to be a part of their solution of bringing God into it, and being able to pray for people, and being able to be of service to people. And my problems don't seem as big anymore.
I was just remembering being because it's true, your problems don't seem as big anymore when you're around other people who are like talking about their stuff, and you're like, oh wow, I don't know how you get out of that. And I don't have an answer for you, but I can sit here with you while you talk about it, and hey, let's go through this work together. It's an interesting thing.
All right, we leave you today. Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
And we just leave you today with, am I being driven by fear, the slave driver of fear that causes hysteria inside, that causes a storm inside? Or do I have peace like a river? Is God in charge? Who's in charge of your day? Because I think it's a daily thing. I think it's sometimes it's a every moment thing, of who's in charge, who's driving, or who's guiding. God is always guiding by his light and love and peace, and the enemy is always driving as a slave driver of fear. So those are our kind of contrasts. So we just pray for everybody today that is being driven by the fear and the hysteria. May you find God's peace today. And we will see you soon. Goodbye, my friends. Spring forward. Spring forward. That's going to mess me up. All right.
It doesn't.
I'm not going to let it mess me up.
It doesn't really need to mess you up, because like you just have to follow the time on your watch.
I'm just going to follow the time on my
your
phone,
which changes automatically.
All right. Have a good weekend. Keep the peace and be of good behavior. We will see you